Welcome to rSlash Entitled Parents, where an entitled mother goes on a murderous rampage. Our next Reddit post is from the Depression of Trees. So for context, I was outed as gender fluid and aromantic/asexual by my brother about 4 months ago. My parents didn't take it well, and they like to pretend that nothing happened. Well, yesterday my parents came to me and said, "It's time to cure your sin." I started to panic inside, but only replied, "Okay, which sin are you talking about?" They said, "Your homosexuality." By the way, being aromantic or asexual isn't technically homosexuality, but they don't care to learn the difference. They led me to the computer and sat me down. They pulled up an online preacher and said, "You'll listen until you no longer feel gay." So I sat there. I listened to this guy's talk. It was about 25 minutes long. My parents came up to me and asked if I still felt gay. I responded that I can't really change how I feel. They put on another one. This went on for 4 freaking hours. They finally gave up. I hope they never try again. For clarity here, when someone is aromantic or asexual, it typically means that they experience no sexual or romantic attraction to people. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that any of these therapies will actually work. I'm just using the parents' own logic. So, if you were trying to cure someone's aromantic or asexual tendencies, wouldn't the more logical cure be to make them watch porn? I don't know, but that would be the weirdest chore I've ever heard of. Alright, Timmy, you're back home from school. Now, before you play any video games, make sure you do your homework and watch all of your porn. Our next Reddit post is from Satyr Bassist. My mother, the entitled mother of our tale, grew up in a household that didn't believe in doctors or going to the hospital. This translated to an irrational fear of hospitals for my entitled mother. At the time of the story, I was 14 in high school and about to have a very bad day. I should start by saying that my entitled mother lives exactly 1 mile away from the closest emergency room. Also, my siblings and father were out of town for competition that weekend. I didn't feel like going to another cheerleading competition, so I stayed home. I get home from school on a Friday around 4 p.m. and call my entitled mother to tell her that I don't feel good and I think I need to see a doctor. My mom says that she has a 1-hour workout with her personal trainer, who happens to train the whole family for our sports teams. My mom tells me she'll come home right after and take me to the pediatrician. At 4:40 p.m., I call my mom saying that something is seriously wrong with me, and I think I need to go to the hospital. My mom tells me that her personal trainer just had a cancellation and she's staying for another hour workout. Then she'll take me to the doctor. At 5:10 p.m., I call my mom and beg her to come home because I'm in a lot of pain and feel terrible. She gives the phone over to the personal trainer who says, "I kid you not. It sounds like a muscle cramp from our workout last week. You'll be fine, buddy." She says she'll call our friendly neighbor across the street to check on me. 10 minutes later, I hear the friendly neighbor walking through the door and come to my room to check me out. I'm on the floor because I fell after going to the bathroom and couldn't get up. She helps me into bed and immediately calls entitled mother. The conversation goes something like this. "Hey, entitled mother, I think you need to get here ASAP. Your son is white as a sheet and sweating bullets. Also, he's in so much pain he can barely move." "Oh, I'm sure he's fine. Probably just overreacting from a muscle cramp like my personal trainer says." "This isn't just a muscle cramp. He needs to see a doctor. I can put him in my car and meet you at the hospital that's only a mile away." "No need for that. I'll finish up here and head home to take him to the doctor." Click. At 5:45 p.m., my neighbor calls entitled mother again, and my mom says she's in the changing room and will be home in 10 minutes. The gym's pretty close. At 6:20 p.m., my mom finally gets home. My neighbor tells her what I've been going through and says that I need to go to the emergency room. My mom says that she's taking me to see our pediatrician. My mom does take me to see our pediatrician, who also runs a pediatric emergency room. The problem is that doctor's office is a 25-minute drive away with 0 traffic. And we're in the tail end of rush hour. At 7:15 p.m., we get to the pediatric ER, and they immediately take me into the back to see what's wrong. Turns out I have acute appendicitis, and it's close to bursting, so they need to send me over to the hospital that's 1 mile away from my house to get it removed. The entire time, my mom is murmuring about needing to get ready for a trial the next day. She's a divorce lawyer. and how I'll probably be fine and I just need to sleep it off. Then there came a moment when my mom was out of the room, but I have a doctor and nurse in the room alone with me. I tell them the whole story about how I've been trying to get her to take me to the ER since 4 o'clock. How we lived only 1 mile away from the hospital they wanted to send me to, but my entitled mom decided to go here because she hates big hospitals. The doctor didn't really believe me until I told him to MapQuest my address. Old school, I know. I managed to convince him to call for an ambulance to transport me to the hospital to make sure I got there. After my surgery, the nurse told me that my appendix burst as they began the surgery, so they had to be quick. To this day, I still tease the personal trainer every time I see him by grabbing my side and saying, "I think I have a muscle cramp." I've never heard him use those words together since. I've been reading through the replies of this post, and you'd be surprised by how common this is. There's story after story of people almost literally dying because their parent didn't believe that they had some major medical crisis. For example, I'm going to include this story from Stoneheart7. One of my best childhood friends had his appendix burst, and his mom almost didn't take him to the doctor. My friend had walked to his mom's workplace after school, and her boss insisted. His mom actually refused at first, and her boss said, "If you don't take him to the hospital, I'm calling your husband and saying we're having an affair," because he couldn't think of any other way to convince her at that point. My friend was legally declared dead 3 times that night. He got better. Our next Reddit post is from California Oldtimer. Okay, I'm not sure if this is entitled per se or just plain stupidity, but this happened yesterday morning. So, background. I live in Southern California very close to the beach. Needless to say that I encounter a lot of locals and tourists. On the right side of my property across the street, there are shops, a cafe, and a bus stop. Now, on my property I have a hollyberry bush, which is poisonous. They taste like cherries and have a cinnamon-like aftertaste, so a person that doesn't know about the plant would have no idea of this. The side effects of the berries are nausea, disorientation, diarrhea, vomiting, and severe stomach cramps. Due to my house being on the historic registry and nature protection laws, I can't just remove the bush because some of the birds pick at it and eat from it. The berries and leaves aren't poisonous to some species of birds and other critters like squirrels and chipmunks. Anyway, because of this, I have 2 signs that say, "Do not eat," and "Danger, skull and crossbones." The fact that I have a sign with "Danger" with a hazard skull and bones deters most people, except for this persistent mom and boy from last morning. So it's around 10:30 and I take my trash out. This mom, who looked about 40 years old, had 2 kids with her, a teenage girl around 14 to 16 maybe, and a little boy who looked to be about 6 to 8 years old. The mom and the boy are the entitled stupid ones here. The teenage girl was actually nice. The boy says, "Mom, look, berries." "Wow, I didn't realize berries grew here. Let's get some." I ask her to read the signs that say don't eat them. She scoffs and says, "It's not like you need all these berries. You should be nice and give them to my kids. Don't be greedy." "Mom, when are we going to have berries?" "Right now." "Daughter, do you want any?" "No, Mom, I think that they're..." "Okay then." Because I'm older, I couldn't run fast enough to catch them. The mom and the son broke a branch off the berry bush. They started running and scarfing down berries and went to the bus stop across the street with the teen girl reluctantly following. I was yelling to get her attention for nearly 20 minutes. But after the mom and boy started getting overly sweaty and acting weird, the teenage girl came to talk to me. "Hey sir, what's wrong?" "Those berries are poisonous. I tried to warn your mother and brother, but it's too late." The girl started crying, thinking that they were gonna die. I comforted her saying that they'll live, but they're just gonna be very, very sick. So I went to my house to get seltzer tablets and water bottles to help. By the time I came back, both the mom and son had finished all the berries, and the boy threw up all over his shirt. The mom came back and was showing obvious signs of being about to throw up herself, and she tried to yell at me when I pointed to the signs that said "Danger" and "Do not eat," and that this was her fault. She flipped the bird and left, and the teenage girl just said, "Sorry." I gave her the seltzer tablets, and she went to the cafe to get paper towels to clean up her brother. But by the time she came back, the mom vomited too. They all got on the bus, and I haven't seen them since. So, toxic people eat toxic berries. Sounds about right if you ask me. Also, down in the comments, we have a similar story from Dark Balmonk. This reminds me of a camping trip I had as a kid in Scouts. Some of the boys came across red berries. My grandfather used to have this old saying, red and you're dead. I didn't know what kind of berries they were, but they were for sure not raspberries. I told them not to eat them and they said fine, but then they asked the adult and the idiot said that it was fine. 2 hours later, we had to be emergency airlifted out of the campsite. Good job, Jerry, you effing nitwit. You let 3 boys eat random red berries not knowing if they were toxic or not. Our next Reddit post is from Russian Anna B. So I'm a 20-year-old female. I'm a dog groomer. I've been one for 4, almost 5 years. The big things in dog grooming is reputation, quality, and time management. Yesterday, we were expecting a girl to come in at 10 to try out as a dog groomer. She was promising, 23 or 25 years old. She worked as a dog groomer at other places. She didn't show until 4:30. No call, no nothing. She apparently had a hair appointment and friends from out of town came in, so they got their nails done. She asked if she could groom now. I said no, I don't think so. When she pressed me on this, I said, and I might be a jerk for saying this, we don't want or need you. There is no need to reschedule your interview. I went back to get my last 2 dogs done. Apparently she cried and I was starting to feel bad. Now entitled mother time. Her mom came in this morning demanding we give her a second chance. I told her, your daughter was 6.5 hours late. That's not something that works in dog grooming. The entitled mother replies, she was with friends. I think someone your age would understand that. Not when there's a job interview. She didn't call her anything. At this point, I was ticked off and over it. I still have 5 dogs to get done. She said, well, there was no reason to make her cry. I said I disagree and got back to work. Apparently, she stayed up there and demanded we give her another shot. As head dog groomer, I said that's not going to happen. She left eventually, saying her daughter was too good for us. Are there any young people out there who have ever heard a boomer say, if you want a job, just walk into that place, look that manager straight in the eyes and say, I'm not leaving till you give me a job. So apparently boomers think that still works, except now they're trying it out on behalf of their kids. This next post comes from a news article in South Korea and OP translated the story. So this retail store was holding an art contest for children back in May. The entitled mother in question had a kid who entered the contest by submitting a drawing to the store, and the kid's drawing was lost during the process. She never let go of this and went to this specific store to complain multiple times. The store owner apologized and tried helping her every time she came in, but entitled mother was never satisfied. In fact, entitled mother was banned from the store in June after throwing a tantrum and getting arrested. Things finally came to a climax yesterday. The entitled mother was there to buy things, but she was denied entry due to her ban. So she exited the store and then rammed her car into the store. Then she proceeds to drive inside the store, wrecking everything for the next 20 minutes. The police were called and entitled mother ignored their pleas to stop until one of the officers shot a warning shot. She's been detained and is now facing various charges including public disturbance, property damage, attempted homicide, and others. This doesn't sound entitled. This sounds like major mental health issues. I'm glad no one was hurt, and I sincerely hope that she gets the help she needs because, oh my god. And because this was a bona fide news article, we've got video footage.
가게 문은 박살이 났고 안에 있는 매대와 물건은 바퀴에 깔려 형체를 알아볼 수 없습니다.
That was rSlash Entitledparents, and if you like this content, then check out my Patreon where I publish episodes that were banned from YouTube. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.